If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I love Ultraman. Like, a lot. It's like the thing I talk about the most on this channel other than Godzilla. And I really love this manga series creatively named Ultraman. Ultraman is a series which takes place in the world of the original Ultraman series, but ignores the canon events of every other series, instead opting to creatively reinvent the events of the Showa era of Ultraman in a world without Ultraman. The series is especially notable for the awesome Ultra Suit designs, which Bandai has capitalized on by making these awesome kits to put together. But wait, where's the best, most awesome Ultraman ever? Belial. Who did you think I meant? I guess just like all the other kits, I'll just have to put this one together myself. To start off with, I need a figure to customize, and after staring at the suit design for maybe longer than is healthy, I started to note the similarities between Belial's design and that evil Jaeger from that Pacific Rim movie which shall not be named. Uprising. There, I named it. And why does everyone hate that movie so much? Obsidian Fury's design is basically a black suit of armor, and already kind of looks like an Ultraman, so it was a really good place to start. And conveniently enough, I already had this figure. But I wasn't about to just mercilessly destroy one of my beloved Bandai figures, so I ordered myself a spare from eBay. Next, the battle plan. Here I started categorizing the list of changes I would have to make to this half-baked evil robot into a true Belial. First off, I would have to resculpt the hands into Belial's iconic scythe-like claws, the two-toed feet into armored boots, and the helmet into Belial's jack-o'-lantern-esque smug face. I would also have to make other minor changes like sculpting the red armor parts and filling in the thighs, which are slightly hollowed out to let you see the gears in Obsidian Fury's legs. When the figure got here, it was finally time to start bringing my vision to reality. I started out with filling out the thighs and sculpting the hands. The basic procedure was to sculpt the lanky fingers and then overlay some clay armor parts on them until I got the scythe-like claws that make Belial so menacing. I had trouble keeping the hands in the bent shape I wanted them, so I reached for the nearest curved thing I could find the rest of them on while I sculpted, which happened to be this handy-dandy tape dispenser. After that, I rolled up some aluminum into balls to let the hands rest on while they cooked in the oven. Now I'm sure if you're watching this video, most of you already know who Belial is, but if you don't, I'll give a quick rundown of his character. Ultraman Belial was once a normal Ultra warrior who fought alongside Ultraman Ken and Ultrawoman Marie, who would later become the father and mother of Ultra. Most notably, he fought against Alien Impera during Impera's invasion of the Land of Light, but it would be Ken who would strike the final blow to Impera. Because of Ken's fame, which he earned in this battle, Belial grew jealous and tried to steal the plasma spark, which would give him ultimate power. His attempt was thwarted, however, and he was exiled from the Land of Light, where he would meet a mysterious entity known as Rayblood, who would ask Belial to conquer the Land of Light for him, and in exchange give him the power to control 100 monsters through the Giga Battlenizer, the ultimate weapon of the Rayblood race. Belial ultimately was thwarted by Ultraman King, who imprisoned him in a moon satellite prison, but Belial would be freed after thousands of years, and would be a nuisance for the Ultramen, until he was eventually killed by his own son, Ultraman Geed. Next was the head, and sculpting this thing gave me more nightmares than Belial's evil grin itself. Apparently sculpting heads is my weak point. But then I had an idea. A wonderfully awful, brilliant idea. I photoshopped a head template using this picture of Belial with the Giga Battlenizer, cut out those shapes in clay, and then wrapped it around a clay ball to make the head. Now, the head still didn't come out perfectly accurate, and afterwards it came out looking like a bobblehead, so I still had to sand it down into a more dignified size and shape. Now, Belial still isn't technically a part of the canon of the manga verse of Ultraman, but I have a few ideas about how he could fit into the story. After the Ultras take down the shady organization controlling the Star Cluster Council, the SSSP needs to recruit more Ultramen to the cause to help keep the peace in this era of destabilization. And so they recruit Belial, who was a famous mercenary for hire and a veteran of many wars. Belial is a cold and calculated person who believes in the right of the strong to dominate the weak. At this time, the SSSP finds an ancient artifact which turns out to be the Giga Battlenizer, the ultimate weapon of a race known as the Rayblood, who ruled an empire which nearly spanned the entire universe. They were a very strong alien race, nearly as strong as the Ultramen themselves. However, their main power came from their telepathic abilities to control other beings, particularly kaiju. The Ultramen eventually overthrew the Rayblood Empire, but it turns out that a vestige of them still remains, both in the Giga Battlenizer, their ultimate weapon, and in their descendant, who turns out to be Ultraman Belial. The Giga Battlenizer speaks to Belial, who, with his naturally telepathic inclinations, is able to hear it, and prompts him to steal the Battlenizer from the SSSP and try to use it to take over the world, leading to a confrontation between the last of the Raybloods and the last of the Ultras, which will settle a war that has lasted for many millennia. Next was the extra armor pieces. For this, I simply cut out the shapes and made aluminum shells around the pieces of the figure I'd have to stick them onto to let them bake into their proper shape in the oven. All that was left was painting everything, which I decided to do off camera. After that, Belial was ready to take over the Land of Light. So, what did you think? Is this an epic incarnation of Belial in the manga/anime universe, or did it fall short of Belial's planet-conquering glory? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and consider subscribing to JPZilla if you like Godzilla, Ultraman, and other kaiju just as much as I do. Until then, this has been JPZilla.